highlights from today's world around us. A Korean researcher finds an old picture of what appears to be Admiral Yi Sun-shin's iconic turtle ship, which has remained a mystery for so many years. The turtle ship greatly helped Korean naval forces beat Japanese invaders in the late 16th century. There are few historical records to detail the actual figure of the warship other than movies or TV shows. However, an art history researcher stumbled on an unexpected scene in a collection of pictures and writings owned by a scholar during the late Joseon dynasty. Ha Baigwon, a renowned scholar in Jeollado province in the 19th century, went on a boat ride off the coast of Boryeong, Chungcheongnam-do province in 1842 when he was in exile there. The region used to be home to a naval base of the Joseon dynasty. In a collection of artworks created by Ha and his party after the excursion, a picture drawn by the scholar features two vessels in a corner. A closer look reveals that right next to a warship, another vessel has a turtle-shaped structure on its deck, where the structure clearly shows a pattern resembling the back of a turtle. There is no question that this is a turtle ship.
실제 거북선의 모습은 어땠는지 그게 매우 궁금했었는데 아마 판옥선이나 그런데 위에 그 거북의 모습을
Nation saying that Chungmugong Yi's warship that surreptitiously and cleverly employed the turtle stood sideways by the water. This indicates that Ha drew the picture upon seeing a real turtle ship. A picture of the vessel can be found in a collection of Admiral Yi Sun-shin's writings published in 1795. However, Ha's picture is the only man-made work of the time. The new finding is considered significant as it suggests the turtle ship was in operation until 1842.
단순한 회화라기보다는 실학적 사상을 담고 있는 회화라는 데 매우 중요한 의미가 있다고 생각합니다.
The picture is expected to greatly help turtle ship researchers who have been suffering from the lack of historical records. One of the world's top destinations for seeing pandas reopened to the public in southwest China's Sichuan province recently as the COVID-19 epidemic situation in China continues to ease. The Chengdu research base of giant panda breeding welcomed the return of visitors, with the nearby Dujinyan base of the China Conservation and Research Center for Giant Pandas also reopening. The bases were closed on January 24th, the first day of this year's Spring Festival holiday, which would otherwise be a peak tourist season for the park due to the outbreak of the novel coronavirus. The reopening followed the province's decision to further downgrade its COVID-19 response to a level 3 public health emergency on Wednesday, the second lowest level of China's 4-tier emergency response system. However, the epidemic precautions remain in place in order to ensure the health and safety of tourists and staff, such as online ticket purchases and limiting the number of visitors.
熊猫基地每日的游客限流量在5000人，而且我们会做好这个消毒措施。但是呢，每一位游客也需要配合我们出示你们的有效的健康证明，确保大家呢平安快乐的游园。
Although closed to visitors during the peak of the epidemic in China, work at the research and breeding base did not stop. Staff carefully monitoring the pandas as they entered the breeding season. Now, several are expected to give birth in the coming months.
春天来了，他们要发情、要配种，要产宝宝，我们也是尽量的在收集它的那个尿样啊，然后来做那个急速的监测。有发情的熊猫，我们也是尽量的，就是把尿样收到。
The bases are striving for a smooth and safe panda breeding season, as well as upholding strong epidemic prevention and control standards as they welcome members of the public back to their sites. At the same time, schools also have reopened in many parts of China as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to ease in most regions of the country. Local authorities in the region have made differentiated plans for each school to ensure campus safety, orderly teaching, and proper epidemic prevention. In northwest China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, all elementary, middle, high schools and secondary vocational schools have reopened as usual. In southwest China's Yunnan province, senior high school students who are facing the coming national college entrance examinations have also returned to class, while other students will start the term on April 7th, according to government schedule. Schools in the other parts of China are also planning to reopen soon, as schedules have been made by local governments in most parts of the country. Disinfection and other preparations are currently underway in the schools to prepare for the delayed start. December 19th, Book Street is one of the most happening book streets in Hanoi. However, for the last 2 months, the customers decreased sharply due to the effect of COVID-19. Contrary to that gloomy situation, online bookstores recorded impressive numbers of purchases, even twice the number of orders compared to last year.
Đặc biệt là hai loại sách có tỷ lệ tăng trưởng đáng ghi nhận là sách y học với mức tăng gấp 2.7 lần và sách thưởng thức gia đình với mức tăng gấp 2 lần trong 2 tháng đầu năm nay so với cùng thời điểm.
Staying at home since the 10th holiday, Min Hui has read all his books. Instead of going to bookstores, his mother decided to order books via online markets to avoid going to crowded areas.
Mặc dù là mình rất là thích đưa các con đến các hiệu sách, các con có thể thỏa thích ở từng góc ở trong hiệu sách, tuy nhiên là bây giờ mình cũng hơi e ngại về vấn đề là đi ra những chỗ đông người. Chính vì thế cho nên là mình cảm rất là hiệu quả và tiện lợi. Mình cảm thấy là rất là yên tâm. Gần như là tất cả các đầu sách thì mình đều có thể tìm thấy được ở trên mạng.
Thì tối thiểu là phải có cái sách về học theo cái chương trình đạt chuẩn. Cái thứ hai là phải theo cái năng khiếu sở trường của trẻ em.
To meet the increasing needs for buying books via online platforms, publishers such as Pong Nam and Phahasa have built online book campaigns. Vietnam Education Publishing House also publishes e-books of textbooks for first-grade students to meet the need for home study amid COVID-19.
Person.
The newly coined word neutro, which combines new and retro, is all the rage these days. Neutro is a source of nostalgia for the middle age, while it draws novel interest from younger people. An LP circles on a turntable as melodies of the past fill the room. Here, visitors can listen to and buy LP records. Even in the digital age where consuming music is just a mouse click away, some 1,500 people visit this place every day. LP sales in Korea also recorded around 600,000 copies last year, more than double compared to 3 years ago.
요새 스트리밍으로 음악을 듣는 경우가 많은데 그것보다는 이제 조금
which has been popular amongst the elderly, is now seeing more young fashionistas. There are piles of second-hand clothes everywhere. Customers are out for a treasure hunt trying to pick out the gems.
빈티지한 느낌이 20대들이 입었을 때 많이 매력이 있는 것 같고요.
Alleyways and stores that have been reconstructed with the late 1900s appearance are also becoming popular. Old movie posters and signboards displayed on walls feel somewhat familiar despite their age and still arouse sentimental feelings. Video arcade games where adults used to enjoy when they were young still appeal to today's children.
어렸을 때 내 모습을 보는 것 같다 그런 생각이 들어요.
처음에는 재미없을 거라 생각했는데 완전 재미있어요.
Neutro is much more than a nostalgic pastime solely for the middle age. It's also a great source of entertainment for the younger generation, and in this aspect, it's very different from the ordinary retro we know of. The popularity of Neutro, which encompasses both the analog and digital worlds, is expected to continue for the time being. The COVID-19 epidemic is a hard time for many people as schools and businesses had to close to prevent the virus from spreading. Expats in Vietnam are having the same difficulties and some have even lost their jobs. Like the Vietnamese, they found alternative ways to overcome their difficulties and continue living here and have also helped others to stay positive. Raja Gupta, an Indian yoga instructor in Hanoi, had fewer classes since COVID-19 broke out. Well, over the past 2 weeks, most centers closed and people have stopped going completely. With the help of his fitness center, now he moved his classes online to continue teaching and help his members keep fit. Additionally, Sarir Afarinesh and Robin Baxter, co-founders of Chicks and Bikes, have been using their free time to run small workshops teaching people to ride bikes. They who work as teachers in Hanoi run the business to support themselves and to help others during the pandemic. Meanwhile, Rowan Kuneke, an English teacher from South Africa, started selling homemade chili sauce after school's closure due to COVID-19 left him without income for 2 months. While sharing a love for Vietnam, he is working hard to continue living in his second home country. Although expats in Vietnam are facing many difficulties as the locals are, they're also working hard to support themselves during this time. Vietnam is still a safe and comfortable country for them to develop their careers. Brunei Darussalam has built a platform to produce a real-time government dashboard based on artificial intelligence to provide the latest information on COVID-19 pandemics. It was announced by Brunei's Minister at the Prime Minister's Office and Second Minister of Finance Economy, Dr. Muhammad Amin Liu Abdullah, in a media conference in Bandar Seri Begawan recently.
Dashboard ini adalah sebagai tambahan kepada pengawasan dan pemantauan yang sedang dan telah dilaksanakan oleh pihak kerajaan dan dijadikan sebagai salah satu sumber maklumat yang tepat berkenaan dengan situasi terkini COVID-19 di negara ini dan di seluruh dunia.
The information includes active cases, number of recovered patients, number of people who are still undergoing quarantine, number of those in critical condition, and many more. In the future, all the information can be obtained in detail, such as the outbreak based on district, mukim, and location that can enable the Brunei authorities to take action. He added the platform also has an online self-screening tool that enables individuals to make an evaluation if they show COVID-19 symptoms and subsequently will be given advice for action to be taken.
Sukacita dikongsikan bahawa platform yang dibangun ini akan membolehkan pihak kerajaan bermanfaat big data science dan artificial intelligence algorithms dalam usaha untuk membantu pihak-pihak berkenaan mengetahui tahap kesihatan penduduk, ramalan kadar jangkitan, pemetaan sumber perubatan ataupun medical resource mapping, dan seterusnya dapat membuat perancangan secara berkesan terhadap pengurusan sistem, penyediaan peralatan penjagaan kesihatan negara dan menyediakan polisi tertentu.
In the future, additional features and government official news will be installed in order to make the platform more comprehensive and informative. Civic groups consist of volunteers in the Osan City, Gyeonggi-do Province in South Korea that make handmade masks to help alleviate severe shortages of protective masks. They work day and night, and the finished products will be donated to schools in the city to make sure every child has a mask when the new school year begins.
12시 반쯤 퇴근하고요. 아침에 5시에 오고 마스크를 저희가 만든 걸 쓰고 불편함 없이 코로나에서 벗어났으면 좋겠어요.
The goal is to make 62,000 masks, where more than 50,000 masks have been made in the past 2 weeks. Osan University also joined the mask-making campaign by providing classrooms and sewing machines to volunteers, with dozens of volunteers, including students' parents, are helping to make face masks.
어려운 여건이지만은 이럴수록 시민 모두가 높은 수준의 서로 나눔의 실천을 통해서 또 안심의 모드를 또 지역사회에 만들고.
The Osan City government plans to distribute 10,000 masks to more vulnerable groups, including the elderly. There are also plans to produce smaller masks for infants. Recent positive market signals have been helping ease difficulties for the agricultural sector, and particularly farmers in the Mekong Delta who are suffering from the effects of COVID-19 drought and salinity. Many parties, including authorities in the region, together actively support and help them. Despite the drought, 20 hectares of Nguyen Van Thot's rice fields are still growing. He is delighted to receive technical support and all of the fertilizer costs from an enterprise for the first time.
Lợi nhuận của tôi có thể từ 50% trở lên. Chúng tôi rất là nông dân chúng tôi rất là mừng và phấn khởi. Nếu mà không có các công ty hỗ trợ chúng tôi thì nói chung vụ lúa này
cùng với nông dân mang đến cho họ cả giải pháp kỹ thuật canh tác lẫn những cái sản phẩm vật tư.
For shrimp farmers, in addition for free advice on production techniques, they are now also supported with 30 to 50% of breed costs.
Chúng tôi đã và đang có chính sách hỗ trợ tôm giống đối với khách hàng rất là lớn, có thể nói lớn nhất từ trước đến giờ, góp phần làm cho cái chi phí đầu vào giảm đáng kể.
Since the epidemic began, many supermarket chains in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City have also launched programs to support the consumption of agricultural products in order to help farmers recover their capital. Along with the support, farmers also need to be more proactive so everyone can overcome during this difficult time. Over 40 years ago, when photography was still considered an expensive hobby in Vietnam, a young man who lived in the heart of Hanoi decided to pursue this art form. Initially starting as a freelance photographer, taking photos of things around him, he later was able to photograph a number of portraits of some of the most well-known Vietnamese people at the time. But more than that, stored in each of his photographs is a story of kindness despite all the hardships of life. Ha Tuong, the photographer who lives in poverty, uses his great passion for photography to earn more money. And at the same time, he loves to photograph famous artists and making friends with older people as his bridging relations that always fulfilled his wish. on a mat spread under an old table in a poor house or at a street-side tea stall, famous Vietnamese artists used to gather to chat. They ate together, drank together, and sang together. Through the lens of the then young photographer, the lives of Hanoian artists during the 80s were difficult, but they still lived them to the fullest, spreading love and kindness to one another. Hoa Tuong was not the only one who was able to capture the daily lives of famous people, but between 1975 and 1995, he was one of the few photographers who pursued this topic.
Là chỉ trên cơ sở là những cái lúc mà vui chơi, anh là thường rất cặn kẽ về những chi tiết trong tấm ảnh, bởi vì không phải chỉ con người nó nói mà tất cả những vật xung quanh nó nói về con người đó. Gặp lại những người muôn năm cũ này, gần như là tôi sống lại một cái quãng thời gian của những năm tháng gian khổ ấy,
Japanese internet users can now enjoy ultra-fast connections as their major carriers, NTT Docomo, has launched the first 5G services in the country recently. The move brings Japan up to speed with the US, South Korea, and China. They are also launching 5G-compatible smartphones which allow fast exchanges of massive amounts of data. Users can download a 2-hour movie in as little as 3 seconds instead of the 5 minutes it usually takes through a 4G network. Access to the new networks will initially be limited to parts of major centers, including Tokyo, Osaka, and Sapporo. The coverage is expected to reach all Japanese prefectures by March 2021, as other mobile carriers in Japan such as SoftBank and KDDI also have begun their 5G services. While COVID-19 seems to be everyone's biggest fear in recent days, many have been taking inspiration from the pandemic to create artworks that convey meaningful messages to the community. Trubak, a street that usually is busy but has become quiet due to isolation, a family exercising in front of a TV, or a boy studying online at home. Well, these are some of the paintings submitted for an art contest about COVID-19 organized by Urban Sketchers Hanoi.
Chúng ta sẽ thấy là có rất là nhiều các cái bức tranh rất là lạ lùng, không từng thấy trong cái cảnh đời sống sinh hoạt hàng ngày mà chỉ xuất hiện trong đợt dịch Covid này. Từ đó là cho chúng ta thấy là sự nghiêm trọng của ảnh hưởng của dịch bệnh đến đời sống như thế nào.
The contest has attracted participants of all ages and professions, even kids.
Đây này chính là xe tải chở Covid-19 ra bãi biển để cho nó bị chết.
These paintings have become a new tool in the fight against COVID-19 as they help convey messages to people. This is artist Diiktiraf. In recent days, Truk has put aside his work and devoted all his time to making art that promotes the fight against COVID-19.
Mẹ con cô kia thì nó nổi bật rất rõ, và cái bàn tay rửa tay kia cũng rất rõ, nhìn cái này biết ngay. Thế nhưng mà cái chữ Covid là...
The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism has distributed Truk's work to spread information about disease prevention in many localities.
Cùng với Đảng, Nhà nước và chúng tôi là sáng tác ra tranh tốt để mà Covid không bao giờ lặp lại ở Việt Nam nữa.
Together, Vietnam is determined to effectively prevent and suppress the pandemic. The exhibition of the Union of Industrialists and Entrepreneurs reflects not only achievements but also the huge potential of business structures. A significant part of the exposition was devoted to areas of the private sector, which are the expansion of import substituting industries and the development of competitive production. Small and medium-sized businesses are an integral part of creating an innovative economy. The state creates all conditions and opportunities for this. During the exhibition, more than 200 exhibitors presented their stands. Among them are structural divisions and vilayat departments of the Union of Industrialists and Entrepreneurs, individual enterprises and business companies specializing in various sectors and services. A separate part of the exhibition was dedicated to the activities of the vilayat units of the Union of Industrialists and Entrepreneurs. Currently, small and medium-sized businesses are dynamically developing in all regions of the country. Large enterprises and business entities representing leading areas of the economy and implementing a large-scale program in the capital and in the provinces, thereby providing jobs for citizens. Vietnam's famous street food sandwich, banh mi, was celebrated on March 24th Google Doodle in over 10 countries worldwide to commemorate the 9th anniversary since the banh mi was added into the Oxford English Dictionary. The Google logo or Google Doodle showcases the different stages of creating banh mi, which is sketched in a lively and eye-catching colored animation. This is the first time a particular Vietnamese dish has been honored by Google. Together with po, banh mi is one of the prominent representatives of the rich cuisine of Vietnam that have conquered a large number of diners globally. The Vietnamese sandwich has been repeatedly recognized by international culinary experts and various media outlets as one of the top street foods in the world. Be sure to tune in next week for another edition of World Around Us.